Good afternoon, everybody. It's just noon, so that's all right to say now. I would like to welcome you all to take a seat here at the public forum of the 28th Hydrogen and Fuel Cells Europe exhibition here at the Hannovermesse 2022. The drinks are on the house here, so that's another important reason to sit down here, have a nice coffee, have some water, or some soda as I'm seeing here. And another important reason to find a seat here is because we will be discussing a very interesting topic. I will be talking about the improved return of investment from advanced catalysts. I will be talking about this topic with Pajarito Powder. That's powder, not power, remember that. Inviting to the stage CEO and Chairman, can I get a warm applause for Thomas Stephenson. Hello, Thomas. Good to have you here.
Just it's a pleasure to be here.
Alrighty. So, Pajarito Powder, you guys have been visiting the expo since 2015, if
That's
I'm
right.
correct.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's quite a long time already. So
It is. It's been exciting to see the growth too. It's wonderful this year.
I can imagine. Yeah, and we might get into that a bit as well. Most of the people here are repeated visitors, I think. So most of the people here will know you. But for those of the audience who don't, what is Pajarito Powder and what do you do?
So Pajarito Powder is a catalyst manufacturer. We make catalysts and support materials for both fuel cells and for electrolyzers. This is it here. It's a black powder that our customers then integrate into the catalyst layer that goes on to their membrane electrode assemblies as part of their overall systems. And our real strength is that we have the potential on the fuel cell side to bring down the cost of the fuel cell stack by 20%. And that's by reducing the precious metal content by as much as 50%. And on the electrolyzer side, we're able to have similar improvements in the overall cost related to reducing the amount of precious metal that's required in the use of the electrolyzer stack.
And I think one of the key topics to understand here is catalysts, right? So what is a catalyst and why does a fuel cell need a catalyst?
In order, of course, in order to make the chemical reaction inside a fuel cell or an electrolyzer work fast enough to be effective, to generate the power in the case of the fuel cell, to generate the volume of hydrogen that you need in an electrolyzer, to make that reaction go, you need to have a catalyst. And these catalysts are critical elements that you can't get by without, but they also represent a huge overall portion of the cost. The United States Department of Energy does a study every year, and their studies on the fuel cell side show that the cost of catalyst, if we were making 500,000 fuel cell vehicles a year, the cost of the catalyst is over 40% of the overall cost of the stack. And that means that in order to bring those costs down, you need to address catalysts. On the electrolyzer side, we have some even bigger problems, particularly in PEM. A PEM electrolyzer in a single 1 megawatt unit may be using as much as 150,000 euro of overall precious metal. And so these are cost issues that really need to be addressed as we need to come down the cost curve to make these technologies cost effective.
All right, and your product is an advanced catalyst, right?
Absolutely.
So what makes it an advanced catalyst then, and what are the advantages for customers, working with these PEM cells?
Right. Well, of course, I'm not going to give all the details of the secret sauce of what is in our catalyst material, but fundamentally, one of the key differentiators is that we've built our catalysts for the hydrogen economy from the ground up. It means that these are designed to work optimally within electrolyzers. They're designed to work optimally within fuel cells. And as a result, there's a number of characteristics that we can get that provide not only higher performance, but actually what's increasingly important for the stack and system manufacturers is better durability and stability for longer life as we look to implement real life systems.
So better performance, longer durability. I imagine that's two traits that can bring down the cost of these cells overall. So in what ways do you do that? Bringing down those costs of the fuel cells?
Well, again, I mean, this is where having a robust material solution ends up allowing you to do certain things. So if you use the case of a fuel cell, as an example, then you might have an instance in a conventional fuel cell design where you need to have a high humidification, so you need to have a humidifier. All right. If you can have a robust material that's capable of working at lower humidities, as ours are, depending upon the operating conditions, then you could potentially get rid of that. If you want to try to eliminate some of the very complicated and expensive power electronics that are used to be able to manage the degradation that happens, again, a more robust material solution solves it. In essence, what we're doing is we're designing better materials that are specific for this application. And those better materials that last longer, that produce higher performance, ultimately allow the customers to do a lot of things that will allow them to have higher performance, longer life, and lower cost. Ultimately, it's about getting to a point of lower cost.
Yeah, and that higher performance, of course, also means that the customer has the option to, either get more performance out of the same stack, or perhaps downsize that stack if they want to keep the same performance. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is the interesting choice, right? When I talk about the ability to reduce platinum in a fuel cell stack or to reduce iridium in a PEM electrolyzer stack. And what's actually happening with most of our customers is that they're taking that savings and doing something a bit different with it. They're saying, well, if I've got a certain built-in amount of precious metal cost, then now I can get a much higher level of performance. I can get more power per unit area, and as a result, I can shrink everything else. That means I need fewer bipolar plates. It means I need less membrane. It means perhaps I need smaller tanks. And so a lot of those can result, again, in design options that exist with our customers. And one of the great things about what we can do, and part of why we're also an advanced catalyst, is that we have a customizable capability. So that the material we have here, we tweak and make a little bit different for every one of our customers that fits with their particular design needs. And as a result, they don't have to make other trade-offs. They can look to optimize their entire system to be able to get the best performance and ultimately provide with the best economic solution for their own customers.
Yeah, so you give them a lot more options in that sense.
That's the idea, right?
All right. Now we know why it's important and what kind of advantages it can bring for customers. But this is a powder, and when I look around here at fuel cells, it's a box. So something happens in between. So how is this powder exactly applied to in the fuel cell? What is it?
Right, so this is for my wide range of jokes. You open up the box, you pour in the powder, it just makes it better, right? So no. What you do is that the powder then gets integrated into an ink and deposited onto, typically it's a CCM or a catalyst-coated membrane, again, either for the electrolyzer or for the fuel cell. And then those become the center or the heart of what actually goes into the stack and becomes the boxes that we see that are the ultimate systems that drive the opportunities that drive power for cars and for trucks ultimately, and also allow for the production of hydrogen.
All right. And then what I'm always interested in, you make new materials, as you said, you develop new materials. And when I think of developing new materials, I always envision this, it's a lab and all these scientists and some test tubes and there's a lot of smoke and someone yells Eureka and they have a new powder. So how did that go for you guys? What's the history?
Well, there's always some of that going on, but one of the things that we've been able to do, and we're extremely fortunate in this regard, is we've been able to leverage a lot of development work that had been done at some of the partner facilities from which we license technology, and most notably Los Alamos National Laboratories based in New Mexico, which is one of the oldest and largest research laboratories based in the United States. We also have technology that we've licensed from the University of New Mexico and from an INRS in Montreal, Canada, to be able to give us all of the components that represent decades of work in the development of these new materials that then we capitalized on to be able to commercialize it, scale up its capability, and make them suitable for commercial opportunities.
And this might be a good moment to ask the audience if there are any questions. So if you do have a question, please raise your hand and I will find you with my microphone. Nobody has any questions. Don't worry, you can still ask your questions in a few minutes. Just raise your hand, and I will see you and I will find you. I do have a question, luckily,
Very good.
and that is, we've been talking about the past now and how you guys used existing technologies, and licensed this.
Right.
So what does the future hold for Pajarito?
Well, one of the things that's going on right now is that we're in the process of building out a new manufacturing facility. We're very excited about the opportunities that exist within the hydrogen economy and the level of growth that we've seen just in the last few years. And so we've raised money that we're now using to build out a new facility that will allow us to increase our manufacturing capacity by an order of magnitude, by 10x or more, and that's what will allow us to serve our customers and serve the demand requirements for the next several years and go on from beyond that. It's been a great show for us, but even more broadly, it's been a great couple of years in terms of the growth opportunities that have existed and the level of demand that we're seeing from customers and partners.
And talking about these last few years, then, the exhibit here has grown tremendously. It's amazing. And you have been here since 2015. So, with that experience, what would you say are the most interesting or maybe important developments you're seeing in the sector?
Oh, well, I think in terms of technology development and market development, what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot more players. There are an awful lot of new names. There's some old names that have been around for a long time. It's very exciting to see them, to see their growth, to see their opportunities, but also to see new players that are entering the hydrogen economy that are recognizing what a tremendous opportunity it is. And it flows back up to the understanding of the need for hydrogen to be a critical part of the overall path towards decarbonization, not only for its benefits for climate change, but in terms of the implications it has for energy security and national security for the democracies of the world.
Okay, and I want to remind the audience that it is still possible to ask questions, and until there is a question, we've been talking about
You keep asking questions until they do. So.
Exactly. So we've been talking about the most interesting developments and the important opportunities, right? And across that, I would say there are the biggest challenges and what still needs to happen. So what do you think are the biggest challenges, and how are you at Pajarito Powder helping to overcome these challenges?
Well, I mean, there are challenges at a variety of levels, and certainly for the individual companies that are making the stacks, that are making the components, what we hear time and again is concern about the supply chain. And obviously, this is the opportunity for us, and the fact that we're building out the larger facility to be able to speak to the fact that we're going to be able to provide the supply that our customers need at the higher volumes that are going to be required going forward. Because the expectations of what the growth in this industry is going to look like over the course of the next 8 years is absolutely amazing. The projections that have been put forth, the targets that have been put forth by the EU, by countries within Asia and North America, it just means we got a lot of work to do as an industry. And certainly for our part, we want to make sure that our part of the supply chain is something that we're able to continue to service smoothly and easily for our customers, so they can continue to make the deliveries to their customers going forward.
And I can imagine that there are plenty of those customers walking around here. So what would then define this fair as a successful fair for you? So what are you hoping to find here? Who should walk to your booth and order some of this powder now?
Everybody needs catalyst powder, so just come on by booth A74 and buy some catalyst powder. No, the reality is that really what we're looking for are the companies and the customers that are doing either the MEA development and manufacturing, they're doing the stack development and manufacturing, but typically integrated their own MEAs, who understand the importance and significance of the economic impacts, not only of the catalyst, but the ability to get the unique catalyst formulations that are ultimately going to help them achieve an optimal design and optimal performance in what they do. And so the folks that understand that need are the ones, and we have met quite a few of them at the shows. It's been a great success for us. and we're very excited about servicing those prospects, as well as having had the chance to reunite with so many of our existing customers and partners who we haven't seen for the last 2 years.
All right. That was Pajarito Powder, and they will be able to help you improve your return of investment with their advanced catalysts. Can I please get an applause for the CEO and Chairman, Thomas Stephenson?
Thank you.